which in Indigenous people from throughout Canada and people from the rest of Canada and throughout the world, and it all comes together to make Inuvik a great place to live. Okay, on Wednesday, we'll do the adoption of the agenda. I think there's anything else we need to add at this point. We're good. Declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Seen. Delegations, presentations, and petitions. Our first presentation is by Arctic Energy Alliance and
Cheryl.
there's Cheryl.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's in there, the director.
So Daniel is gonna help Cheryl.
And then we've also got a couple of people on line. Kevin and Tanner, Tanner. And
Steve.
and everyone should have also, there's a printed copy, and what the objective is tonight to go through it, with the presentation. Ask any questions that you may have, and then we'll come back and then council will approve the plan with any changes or amendments that we need, and then Cheryl was working for Arctic Energy Alliance and helping as an energy champion, helping develop the plan. And then we found outside money from another group to be able to have her assist the town and assist the other entities in the town implement the plan. So we've got enough money for the next year in order to do that. So it's not just a matter of producing a plan that's going to sit someplace. We've actually got somebody who's going to work with everybody to get as many of these things implemented as possible. And as you'll see, kind of coming out of the plan, Daniel's already applying for money to make it more of an active community. So you'll see that proposal is also in your package. So with that, we'll turn it over to Cheryl and Daniel.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Just press the button and then you're live.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Cheryl Greenland. I'm a community energy champion. Community energy champion for the town of Inuvik. I'd like to introduce the Arctic Energy Alliance staff who are joining us virtually. Kevin Corrigan, Program Coordinator, and Tanner Nygaard, Energy Management Specialist. Thank you for the opportunity to present the draft 2025 Inuvik Community Energy Plan. Our goals for this evening are to share the draft CEP, to highlight key goals, strategies, and action items, and to answer any questions you might have about the plan. As a result of our community engagement, we came up with this vision statement. We will build a sustainable, resilient, and self-reliant community powered by local natural gas, clean, renewable energy, and local resources. We will reduce reliance on imported fuels, lower energy costs, and enhance energy security for future generations. This vision statement provides overarching guidance for the community energy plan, informing the development of its goals, strategies, and actions. The 5 energy goals identified are: enhance energy efficiency in buildings and infrastructure, reduce transportation-related emissions, expand the use of renewable energy, reduce dependency on imported fuel, enhance community energy literacy and workforce capacity. These 5 energy goals establish a structured foundation for the plan, guiding strategic actions that reflect Inuvik's energy priorities for a long-term vision. Each energy strategy outlines a specific approach to achieving the community's goals, helping to prioritize efforts and ensure meaningful progress. The strategies under Goal 1 are: promote energy efficient building standards, retrofit public buildings, support cost-effective energy efficient upgrades, promote sustainable land use and community planning. Strategies for goal 2, assess and promote the feasibility of electric and hybrid vehicles, evaluate public transportation solutions, promote the installation and use of integrated parking lot controllers, IPLCs, to optimize energy use for vehicle heating. Integrated parking lot controllers are smart electrical outlets used to control and reduce the amount of electricity used by engine block heaters. They automatically turn on and off based on outdoor temperatures, so vehicles get the warmth they need to start reliably without wasting energy, and encourage active transportation. Strategies for goal 3, advocate for changes to enable greater renewable energy integration, maximize wind power utilization and grid efficiency, increase solar adoption, expand the use of biomass. Goal 4, integrate the Inuvik Energy Security Project into the region's energy infrastructure, strengthen local food security, expand the use of locally sourced biomass, explore alternative clean energy options. Goal 5, encourage residents about energy saving measures, renewable energy options, and available incentives. Foster engagement and energy education for children and youth. Build educational and training opportunities for youth. Improve education for local contractors on installing and maintaining renewable energy systems. Expand access to WET certification and services in Inuvik. Foster a culture and encourage conservation and environmental stewardship. The action plan translates the energy strategies into concrete steps, providing a roadmap for implementation and accountability. Here are the action items with Town of Inuvik listed as being responsible and the timeline being ongoing. Complete outstanding energy management opportunities. Encourage energy audits for homes and commercial buildings. Promote rebate programs. Encourage mixed-use developments. Prioritize compact development. Encourage infill development. Monitor EV advancements for climates. Advertise the benefits of IPLCs. Ensure safe and accessible bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure is integrated into all new road construction, repairs, and upgrades. Expand community greenhouse initiatives. Support traditional harvesting programs. Support local food businesses and markets. Consider clean energy feasibility studies. Encourage recycling. Support ongoing energy saving actions. Immediate action items for the town are develop home and business retrofit programs, investigate possible municipal exchange programs for IPLCs. Short-term action items are consider amending the town zoning bylaw to set minimum energy efficiency standards for new buildings, consider community bike programs, install additional bike racks. Midterm action items are complete targeted energy audits, consider piloting an EV in the municipal fleet, explore the feasibility of a community bus system or shuttle service, expand and maintain multi-use trails. The next steps include distributing the draft plan to additional stakeholders for review. Once the plan is approved by council, the focus will shift to selecting projects for implementation. Hi, Chuck. Any questions?
Thanks, Cheryl.
Any questions from council on the plan?
certainly be able to, now that you've got a printed copy, and I think you've also got a digital copy, take a look at it and go through it, and if there are things that, you don't think are they, going to work or whatever, it is a draft plan. But I think that most of it looks pretty good, and, most of it are definitely some things that we can do, and some things that we're already working on. Some of those changes or some of those things, to incorporate. And we also hope that the other governments in town and other organizations and businesses will also start looking at that. And certainly the inclusion of gas from the Inuvik Energy Sustainable Project is going to be a huge help. And also producing local diesel at that same facility will reduce the need for importing and trucking up or barging up diesel to be used. So some good positive things that we know are already in the works. Councilor Gillis.
Cheryl, is the town's action plans in here? Yes, because that's a lot of action plans. I'd like to read them and see what that really means. So maybe you lost me somewhere in there, but I didn't see them in here. Now there's a lot of bicycle lanes and stuff like that. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think it starts around page 32. And then there's a number of them for each goal, there's the actions. Yeah. Basics. Some of those things will be more, some of those things will be more feasible than others, and we'll be able to implement sooner, and some things will definitely take a while. Councilor Pear?
Thanks for your presentation. It's clear that you've done a lot of work in this area. I was wondering if you could explain at a high level how the energy goals that you've described in your presentation align with the ISR Energy Action Plan. And if you see synergies working with the Inuvik Regional Corporation with what you're proposing.
That's fine.
Want me to take that?
Can you elaborate on the question or help her answer that question?
Sure. So during our engagement, we did a lot of work with the IRC, and we met with the climate change division over at IRC. We looked through a lot of the planning that they've done, and what we've tried to do as much as we can is incorporate the work that they're already doing, the plans that they have already in place, identify what the town can do, identify what other organizations are doing, and put it all together so that it all complements each other, if that makes sense. And so what you'll notice on the action plan is you'll see that the person responsible is identified in the action plan, and you'll notice, for example, IRC are responsible for quite a lot of items, and that reflects that the work that they're doing and the work that they're planning to do. And so there's definitely opportunities, and it really helps to have Cheryl's position extended another year there, because there's definitely opportunities for the town to work with IRC, for Arctic Energy Alliance to work with IRC and yourselves, and to try and pool our resources so that and sort of work more cohesively together. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, she's nodding. All right. Thanks, Kevin. Any further questions from council? Okay, if not, review the plan and then we'll have a discussion of that.
Probably first week, the first council session in May.
First council,
We'll get a document.
Yeah. So we got a bit of time. Right. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next we have Jesse's here with the RCMP report, and that was also sent out to everyone. So welcome, Jesse, and thanks again for a great report for the month of March. We really appreciate the those reports and the time it takes staff to pull everything together, but we also really appreciate all of the service that the reports identify that took place in March, so.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, council. The first thing you'll probably notice on me is.
Oh,
You got it. Body worn camera. So every single member here in Inuvik now trained, has to wear them. Green means it's not recording. So green is good or bad, depending on how you look at it. Red, it'll flash red when it's recording. And officers will tell you or tell the citizens of Inuvik that they are being audio and video recorded. There may be times, as you guys can appreciate, where that's not entirely possible. But think of a traffic stop. That's the first thing the officer's gonna say is, you know, you're being audio video recorded. So in a setting like this, we're not recording, obviously in the school for a presentation, we're not recording, just on active calls for service. Which leads me just very briefly, some of you may have noticed it, it's a slight, let's say error, but kind of a change in some of the numbers in those back pages from last month. So last month, the way it was tabulated or calculated was, so any call for service just count as one call for service. But oftentimes, if we get one call for service, there might be sort of a couple different offenses or things that we're doing. So this month, we've actually tabulated all those. There's not a large difference in numbers. If you look at last month's, or there's some slight changes, you'll see that, hey, those don't add up, Jesse, and that's why. So it's nothing, I don't think you're gonna see any massive spikes in the statistics or big changes. There might be some small variations in that. I would, you know, be remiss not to highlight the excellent work the members did at the Nova Apartments a few weeks ago. I think the town council, my members, especially the Nova, but everywhere in the community, we know the impact that, you know, individuals like this who come to our community and basically try to profit off of other people's suffering have. So we'll continue to do what we can to hold these people accountable. And there's lots of folks that come talk to me. They want to live in a safe community, and that's our job. Obviously, we can't do it alone. So in this particular investigation, you know, we had help from the community, right? It's the community members of Inuvik that really are the ones that allow us to do our job. So big thanks to the people of Inuvik as always, and obviously your support of the detachment, Mayor and Council, and we'll open to any questions, comments, concerns.
Questions, comments for Jesse in the report?
So Jesse, when do you activate that? As soon as you enter the premises, or is it in the driveway? Like if you're going in, like when do you actually do that?
So we have a rule, seatbelts off, camera on.
Okay,
So if we got a call for service, so there's a little bit of a difference between a call for service and if I just stop by your house, counselor, to say, can I get a statement about maybe something that happened down the road?
Okay.
So then I would ask you, I'd have to ask permission if I come in your home, can I record? But if it's a call for service, as soon as we get into your driveway, basically take our seatbelt off, it's coming on. It's just a couple,
yeah,
we press it twice, it comes on. And like I said, we would tell you, you're being audio and video recorded. And, you know, I think obviously a lot of other communities across Canada have it, not all of them actually, but a lot do, and we all watch TV. So I think, you know, a little bit of an adjustment for us all, but you know, we'll all kind of just get used to seeing the body worn cameras, and we don't share the videos with anybody unless it's for court purposes.
Yeah.
But the day-to-day calls that we go to all the time, that get stored on this magical cloud, the videos get uploaded to it, you know, we don't even watch them ourselves. It's only if there's an issue, if it's gonna go for a court prosecution.
Right.
So,
okay, thank you.
Councilor Merrill.
Jesse, how long are the recordings held for?
so it depends on the file. So it all comes down to Privacy Act and access to information. So your, say, run-of-the-mill type thing, 2 years. But if it's a crime that went to court, we charge somebody, those can be held a little bit longer depending on the retention period for that investigation. So assaults sits somewhere around 10 years, you know, and that goes up depending on the severity of the.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further questions from council on the RCMP report or anything else involving RCMP? Steven, you're good? All right, thanks, Jesse. Really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5, public question period. And it would appear we have some public here with questions. So come on up to the mic and ask away.
Oh, us
Yep.
or me?
The three of you are the public.
Sure. No, you can't do it. You can go keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know how to start this off.
Just press the button.
No, I know, I get that, but I don't know where to begin
Oh, okay.
in terms of issues with Inuvik gas. And to me, I've brought people that well, we have decided to come down. That there's been issues with gas and it's, I've heard a little bit about it in the field. And I want to know if there's been anything the town council has heard or could potentially help with issues with the gas. I mean, I've had one device after another, or my furnace blew, my hot water on demand blew all within the course of 48 hours. And the acrid smell coming out of my exhaust was just, it was ridiculous. The natural gas stove stinks sometimes it doesn't stink, sometimes it's orange flame, sometimes it's blue flame. I mean, there's just so many things going on with the gas. And our properties, Blue Lake Apartments was shooting off like a shotgun for a good day. And talking to plumbers and stuff on the street, it was happening from the west end, and it kept happening, was coming further, was happening to one of Dennis properties, and there's just these constant things happening with the gas, and and to me, it can't just be all just the appliances in the houses of the people, and there's a lot more people that have issues that obviously aren't here. And I'd like to know if there's something that can be looked into or whatever. Like I don't, like I said, I don't know where to begin. I'm frustrated because it's one appliance after another blowing up. And it just can't be the appliances and all the people you talk to.
Again,
Councillor Lemieux.
I talked to Robin this morning for about an hour, and I brought up this up, I talked to Nick as well. And I also talked to Lucas, and he said that there was a bunch of stuff that, like incidents that have happened, I think it started like last fall, I think, right, this past fall or something.
It starts in the fall, noticeably.
Yeah, so he assured me that their samples are sent out like every week or every 2 weeks, and they're analyzed and they're done like to the book. So he did mention to me that as these events happen, he would like the customers to actually call Inuvik Gas and talk to him specifically. I've also told, like I told Luke, because he sent me a list of a whole bunch of stuff. So Lucas has there's no chronological order to it. He doesn't have dates and times, but he's just got the actual incidents, and like he had a bunch of them. And I'm sure everybody in town dealing with the gas has probably has dealt with it too. But the big thing is, he said to call him directly, not talk to the guy out in the field. As it happens in real time, jot it down and get it to him, and he will work on it. That's pretty much all
And he hasn't gotten wind of any of this. That's so bizarre to me.
I don't know if he has it or not,
The
but
chatter
that's
on
the conversation that I had with him.
Okay.
So, I mean, moving forward, I think the first step would be absolutely get in touch with him as these things happen. And if there's more and more of it happening at certain times, you kind of get a little bit of a pattern, whether it's with ITKIL coming online or PAS coming online, like that sort of thing. I think.
Well, and that's where it's happened with me in particular with Deb,
Yeah.
and I think Nick as well, is that when they do Luke does get information of when they're changing, and
Yeah,
it's usually around those times, like, it's got something to do with the gas.
and I think we've been dealing with this for a lot of years too. This isn't new, like,
No.
but this, from what you're saying and what I've heard lately is this year was significantly a little bit more in depth than it has been in the past. So if the severity is a little bit more, I think that's the process to move forward. Like I said, I talked to him. He assured me that what they're doing is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. He did also indicate that when you see a yellow flame, it's probably the PAS system. When it's natural gas, it's blue. And with the yellow tips, right, on the flames themselves, but when it's significantly more yellow but sharp, that's typically PAS fuel. So I hope that kind of settles you a little bit. I tried to get a little bit more, but that's pretty much all I could get.
No, and okay, that's fair enough, I mean, that was not one of your fireplaces working in your place. I
Press
mean,
the
it's just
button,
everything's
My-
sitting up, it's
My
just,
question would be like,
press the button,
Yes, sir.
so that way the people online,
okay,
who's online, can hear you then.
I guess the big question would be, does the town have any authority or regulation over Inuvik gas? Who actually is Inuvik gas? Because I think, I understand what you're saying, Maria, like, I've actually been into Inuvik gas and left a message, there, and it was not returned. And I think part of it is what we're realizing is there's a whole bunch of people in Inuvik having issues, but you don't normally think to go into Inuvik gas when your gas well goes out, or your fireplace is out, or you have no heat in winter, or your place is freezing up. You're basically we're calling the plumbers. And so it's just putting it all together, but there's definitely been something amiss in the last 2 years. I think more noticeably, it was running pretty smoothly with all the appliances. Now it's also kind of, I mean, there's lots could be guessed at what's going on. Is there condensation in the lines? What's happening? But I guess the big question to the town for me is, do we regulate Inuvik gas? I mean, Inuvik gas can say they test it
Mhm.
every 2 weeks, but do we check that? Do we know that? How many people in town are having issues? So I guess my big question was, yeah, do we, especially for a provider that we have no choice in getting a service from, so if we don't have any authority over Inuvik gas, is that something the town needs to look at for future providers of services to a whole town? Where if there is a problem with the gas, you know, who do we talk to about it? So I don't think Inuvik gas, I mean, I don't know exactly what the problem is, clearly I saw post-it notes, no idea. There's just something not quite right, and then who do we talk to about it?
Hit your button. So, yeah, I think there's definitely something going wrong. Enough people have seen it, heard it. The mechanical companies have gotten lots of calls because of it. So we don't regulate Inuvik gas. The Public Utility Board would play a role in regulation. But what we can do as a municipal council is get a hold of Robin, the manager, and ask him to make a presentation to council on all of the incidences that we're hearing and what are they doing about it. But we can also raise it with them that there's something not right, and whether they're doing testing or not, there's still something not right. And perhaps I can put more time and resources into it, especially if we can determine that there's not as many problems or no problems with IKIL gas, and then there's problems with the synthetic natural gas. So that would tell me, pretty simple math, there's something wrong with the mixing when they're making synthetic natural gas. Now, hopefully, by sometime in mid-26, we won't need to be
Yeah.
making synthetic, but we've got, a year and a half to get there, so something needs to be done about it. And I think probably anybody who's got a gas range sees the difference in the flames. You see a yellow flame or a blue flame, and it's quite noticeable, and why some people have more issues with their furnaces or boilers or appliances than others. Who knows, but we know that there is a problem, so we'll commit to reaching out to Inuvik Gas and ask them to come and make a presentation to council and see what we can do. Any other questions, comments from council members?
just it would be interesting to know for the community that when they are changing, that would give everybody a bit of an idea of like, okay, they've changed to synthetic today. And my furnace blew up yesterday or today or whatever, like, there's never any understanding for the public as to like, are we on synthetic right now, or are we on normal natural gas right now? Is it a problem with my furnace, or is it a problem with the gas? That would be probably a good place, like, that we were aware of when it got switched. And then everybody could be a little more vigilant
We would
have an
definitely
idea.
get information. Yeah. Nick, did you have anything to add? I know you've had some problems too. You called me about them earlier. Assume it's some of the same
Did you share
issues.
my email with them?
No, I didn't.
So I detailed my issues with Mario this morning and share that with the group. I can tell you, I don't know when they are on natural gas and when they're not on natural gas. It's very, very clear with my fireplace. It's been 2 years. I ended up buying a new fireplace and come to realize I didn't need to. I actually thought about going to a secondary source last October, just getting rid of the fireplace and getting another stove and spending $15,000. Luckily, I didn't. I accidentally met Robin, manager of Inuvik Gas, last October. He volunteered to run the junior curling program on Wednesday nights, and it was just a bad night for him when I realized who he was and what he does. But he's been very friendly. A lot of the information he gave the Mario is what he told me. You know, at the end of the day, the testing and all that, there's something wrong with propane. Now, I've been very fortunate since they went back on the propane at the beginning of January, that I've had no issues. My flame is now yellow. As soon as they go to natural gas, and they did it a couple of weeks ago for about 3 days, and I could see it. It's very blue when it goes to natural gas. If it turns orange, it's when I have the issues and my fireplace sits up. And like 2 years ago, I actually just closed it down and used, I bought 3 electric heaters to heat the house for 6 weeks, just because I couldn't manage to clean house, traveling all this time, and I couldn't have house sitters vacuuming mode. I know that's what your issue is.
Yeah.
In regards to vacuuming it. So, you know, easy for them to say that they're testing this stuff, but there's something different. The first 6 years in the house never had an issue. For the most part, I had maybe 2 or 3 times when it stood it up, but it was very minimal and it didn't last very long. But for the last 2 years, up until January, and again, I'm just hoping to get through the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then hopefully next fall or next winter, if it's 2026 for the M18, hopefully we can just make it to there. But that's my only source of heat is that fireplace.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Any other questions, comments from council?
I
Councilor
think,
Lemire?
that's a good idea. I don't know if we can actually go to Inuvik Gas and say, listen, can you put out a public notice when you're flipping?
Oh,
You know,
ask
so
them.
people can know, and at the same time, maybe ask them in that same notice to just, if you encounter any issues, to contact Robin
Yeah.
specifically. Then he'll get all those calls.
Yeah.
Instead of this roundabout way, it might be, because it's an issue, we've all seen it, we've all dealt with it, right? I mean, no one's immune to this at all. So unless you're running diesel fuel over it, but, you know, so I think that might not be a bad idea, we can approach it that way.
Thanks for coming in and thanks for raising that issue. It sounds like it's a very common issue and something that needs to be addressed, and we'll certainly reach out to them this week. And great, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Item number 6, adoption of the minutes from the March 24th and 26th council meeting. Any errors, corrections needed for those minutes? Everybody who is there is listed. Okay. Item 7.1 are the action items coming out of those minutes and what we've been dealing with. We've covered most of those in the past. A couple of new things, I guess, on as you'll see there, April 4th, listed and things, so on some of those items. Any questions on any of those items? For action items?
I'm just gonna get.
Cindy?
So with regard to action item number 4, the land acquisition and future development. I've been in contact with Lands, Danica, and we're going to arrange a meeting because I find the atlas maps are confusing, hard to read. So we're going to try to blow that up and talk about with her what the town actually owns, what the town leases, and then what is the potential certainly within the urban core. So hopefully we can direct our conversation with a little bit more information rather than it being free for all. So hopefully this week I will be meeting with her and then I will bring that forward and then we can have a more robust discussion with that. So that's about it.
Stephen, you got a question on the action items?
Yeah, just with respect to action item number 2 for the NTPC intervention of our legal counsel, are we anticipating getting an update from them after that happens at some point? Just to kind of see where things are at?
Yes, that is correct. As I said, the hearing is today and tomorrow. So once they've had that, we can get an update for next council meeting.
Great, that'd be lovely, thanks.
Seeing no further questions, we'll move to 8.1, support for federal funding application, active transportation funding. This is the latest proposal that Daniel has put together and just looking at some road expansions and fixing some of the intersections, walkways, town areas, bike racks. So a number of different things to make more of an active transportation community. Any questions, comments on that application or proposal? And this fits in well with the energy plan. It's was one of the goals, so. And it also makes for a safer community. We've been talking about some of those sidewalks in different areas in the community, especially going up Brainat. That's always been and still is a safety issue. Okay. Item 8.2, request for council decision, contribution agreement with the government of Northwest Territories Community Public Infrastructure Program funding. Cindy, do you want to give an overview of that?
So this is annual funding that comes specifically last council meeting, we did the 2024 because they were unable to find the signed agreement. So that's what last council meeting was. This council meeting is for the 2025 contribution agreement. Other than that, it's it's a annual contribution that we enter into, and it's primarily in terms of electrical utilities, capital projects. One of those funds where we put the money forward and then we do get compensation back for some of those larger assets and capital projects.
Any further questions on that? No. 8.3, request for council decision, remaining contribution agreement with the GNWT for public infrastructure funding for 2024.
Again, we discussed this last council meeting. It just needs a third reading for this one.
Okay. Item 8.4, cancel April 23rd, regular council meeting. We discussed this at the last council meeting because Monday is Easter Monday, a stat holiday. And the fact that we also have a number of people out of town that week, that because we wouldn't have the committee of the whole, we'd also cancel the regular council meeting. Okay, no questions, comments on that?
Sorry, point of clarification back to the 2024 CPI, just the previous one.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't for third reading. This was, they only gave us a portion, and then they realized they still owe us 400,000. So
Oh.
that's what this contribution is.
Okay. We'll take it. Okay, 9-1 request for council decision. This 9-1 and 9-2 are requests to third readings for the acquiring those two lands that we got during the tax sale. So what we'll be doing with that, there was no opposition to either one and nobody came in and paid any of the taxes. So now we'll look at what we need to do to clean up those two sites, and I believe both sites are a trailer. Mobile homes, I think, trailers. Probably be taking both of those to the landfill, going in with a loader, cleaning up the entire lot, making sure that there's nothing in there that is hazardous or anything. And then once the lot is cleaned up, and then this summer, then we'll put them up for sale in with our lands office. And at least there'll be two lots in that Juxay area that would be for sale. And then we'll also be with some of those lots, derelict lots that need to have a reassessment. That one house that's still, I think the improvements are assessed at 120,000, but it should be zero. So we'll also be working with MACA to get some of those places reassessed, so that next year when they come up on the tax sale, it's just the land that people are purchasing. They don't have to worry about the assessed value of the improvements. So that's what the next 9-1 and 9-2 are. Any further questions on those two properties? Nope. Okay, just a side note, all of the purchasers except one has followed through and came to the 30 days have passed. They have paid for the lands, and then unfortunately one person who had put in a deposit and wanted one of the tax sales has decided no, they don't want it. It's unfortunate, but all the other ones, especially the Talal property, is now owned by IRC. They'll be cleaning it up, and that could be a site for one of the new apartments they would want to build. No further questions on those. Item number 10, there's no departmental updates at this meeting. Item number 11.2 is the Muskrat Jamboree proclamation. And that's just something we do. We, as council, as most of you are aware, we have the authority to give one civic day a year or 2 half civic days a year. And we always give one to Muskrat Jamboree. So that'll be next Monday afternoon.
We will put out a public notice and send the proclamation to GNWT, IRC, GTC, like we normally do.
11.3 is just an example of what the some of the marketing we're doing out of Charlotte's department, and it just shows some of the information that goes out, so it gives people a better idea of some of the numbers and just some of the stuff that's happening with the town. Charlotte, any idea how many people would get to see this in the communities and go on the Facebook page, website?
It's on the Facebook and website,
Okay,
but I don't have any numbers.
yeah. And this is something that'll go out weekly or whenever you have information?
So this one, we decided every 3 months.
Okay,
But given the reactions, like, it's actually pretty popular. And we'll see what we can do, but for now, it's every 3 months.
okay, great. No, interesting information for sure. You know, just looking at the number of town staff and how that breaks down and how many are students, and I mean, all of that's great information. Just thinking the other day, you know, with the number of people that the town employ, and you know, whether it's at school or or pool or infrastructure or whatever it is, it's you know, adds a lot to the economic development of the community. So great. 11.1 The stuff I've been working on a lot lately has been the Arctic Development Expo, just securing speakers for that from across Canada and working with Starlet to identify other speakers, identified actually several speakers at the Arctic Security session in Whitehorse, and then actually just talked to Jesse tonight about getting the RCMP up to present at one of these sessions on Arctic security monitoring that the RCMP do, and then there'll be a bunch of other people responsible for monitoring, so that's taken up a fair chunk of time just to, because we've got to get all that done now, so that people's flights are booked and it's in their calendar. Unfortunately, the Premier of the Northwest Territories is not able to come, but we will have the Deputy Premier and newly appointed Minister of Strategic Infrastructure and Arctic Security. There's a lot of strategic infrastructure that she'll be able to talk about. So it's coming together quite well, I think, and with some really good sessions. And we're also setting up in the afternoon after 3, lots of discussion sessions, workshops, demonstrations. So get people out of their seat, get them a bit more interactive and active for the latter part of the day when everybody's fallen asleep and is waiting for 5 o'clock. So that latter part of the day will be a lot more engaging than what it has been in the past. So yeah, it's coming together. Okay. Item number 12, council concerns. Any concerns from any of the council members on any items? Pretty quiet, everyone's happy. I have one concern, well, I'm relaying on a concern that a couple of people have called about. And unfortunately, I know the trucking companies are very busy this time of the year before they get to spring thaw and taking a lot of material to Tuck. But coming down the Finto Hill, especially at 4 in the morning with the Jake brakes, has kept a lot of people awake. So received a couple calls on that, and as I lay in bed awake last Saturday morning, the wind must have been just right or something, because it was literally like they were on Spruce Hill. So I know what people are talking about, and so we actually have a bylaw that prohibits the use of Jake brakes within the municipal boundaries, which I guess we've never really enforced because it hasn't been such an issue. And if it's, 2 in the afternoon, nobody probably cares that much, but at 4 o'clock in the morning, steady, like there's a lot of truckers out there. It's good. So our bylaw people are gonna talk to everybody and say, look, we need some common sense here, and probably most municipalities have that bylaw. No engine retarder brakes, allowed within the municipal boundary. And I know we've got that big hill, but at least coming back, they should be empty. So anyway, everyone will be getting a notice about that to try to keep things a little bit quieter. Councilor Raymond.
It'll be done in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Never seen you look guilty before.
Well, I'm not guilty, I'm not the driver. I've got a bunch of night shift from Whitehorse, and trying to keep them in line is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
And plus the local guys are night shift, but we have 42 trucks running, so. And we have a lot from Whitehorse, and the guys from Whitehorse are.
Yeah.
But we will address it in our 6:30 AM meeting.
Yep.
And our 6:30 PM meeting for about the 11th time or 12th time, because they wake me up in my house too.
Yeah, no, if you can hear the whole town here, so.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. We've tried to fix it several times.
Yeah.
And it's mostly the 4 AM shift coming in from Tuck, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll bring it up in the meetings again.
I appreciate that, and I'm sure the entire town will appreciate it. But we also appreciate that they're doing a great job in getting those rocks to Tuck. If you haven't been to Tuck lately, it's transformed that whole coast. It's hopefully, it does what it's designed to do and, you know, it's a great breakwater so that duck doesn't continue to wash away. But it's impressive when I'm going there either Thursday or Friday to take some friends up that are come up for the jamboree, but I don't know how many tons of rock, but it's impressive.
We haul 78 loads every shift,
78,
loads from Inuvik to Puckett.
wow,
And anywhere from 40 to 60 tons per load.
wow.
It's hard to fathom that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you really want to see the outcome of it, you go out to the pit 251 and look at that pit, it's totally changed.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
Not
I
the
know.
same period, I can't even tell you how many tons till we got 1,380 meters of beach nourishment to do. And in the end, the tonnage has gone way up, but yeah, there's 78 loads a day.
Yeah. So it's
2 more weeks.
definitely impressive. All right, any other council concerns? Okay, great. We don't have any in-camera items for this meeting. There may be one on Wednesday. We're still working on some things, so there may be an in-camera item on Wednesday. Sorry, Stephen, anything further for you?
No concerns for me at the moment.
Okay, thanks. And that's everything we've got for this meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight, and thanks to all the directors. Appreciate it.
Have a good meeting. Have a good evening, everyone.
You good?
Oh, we need a motion? Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't think you had a motion.
Not done yet.
Moved by Councilor Day, seconded by Councilor Lemieux, all in favor? Motion, me either.
Guys. Politics, Tuesday, Wednesdays, the Pond Lake and the meeting, I'm still coming back from politics.
Not getting back till Sunday.
Sunday?
Other reports.
Yeah.